Welcome to Pieces of the Past Resumed, a program to inform our citizens about Campbell County history, sponsored by the Campbell County Historical and Genealogical Society. Today's presentation is about Professor William Spenser Blanton, a principal and teacher in Newport. Professor Blanton was an African-American education leader and teacher who lived in Newport from 1909 till 1921 and taught at the Southgate Street School. Professor Blanton was born April 18, 1877, in Versailles, Kentucky, the oldest son of former freed slaves, John Oliver Blanton and Eliza Gates. John, his father, was the son of Oliver and David Blanton. Versailles, as some of you might know, was home to the old Oscar Pepper distillery. As was the case for most African-American families, John and Eliza wanted their children to be educated and become productive members of society. William attended the colored schools in Versailles. From the records of his military service in the Spanish-American War, Blanton was a short man standing 5'4", and served with the African-American 24th Infantry in Cuba. He and his infantry were deployed to Cuba and stormed the Spanish fortress in the Battle of El Caney during the climatic Battle of San Juan Hill. His infantry with others assaulted and seized the Spanish-held blockhouse and trench system atop San Juan Hill. Professor Blanton received an honorable discharge on January 31, 1899, while serving at Fort Douglas, Utah. He was a private and received the remarks of very good in reference to his military service. After the war, Professor Blanton became a teacher in his hometown of Versailles, in the schools there, while studying at Kentucky State Normal School, a teacher training school. He graduated from this school in 1906 while still teaching during the summer months. Also, while teaching at the Versailles schools, he met Emma Jones, another teacher. They were married September the 17th, 1905, in Scott County. She was the daughter of William H. Jones and Betty Tilford. She not only taught in Versailles, but went on to teach in Newport and Frankfort. Professor Blanton graduated from the Simmons University in Louisville with a degree in education in 1909. This was an amazing achievement for African Americans at this time. In 1879, the Convention of Colored Baptist Church purchased 4 acres in Louisville. William J. Simmons, pictured above, was the second president of the Simmons School. He had been an enslaved man and, when freed, had developed Howard University's teacher training programs. During his tenure, 1880 to 1890, the school became a full university. Shortly after Professor Blanton's graduation from Simmons University, the Newport Board of Education hired him as a principal and teacher for the high school level students. They also hired his wife, Emma, as a teacher, and together they bought a home at 221 4th Street in Newport. The National Association of Teachers in Colored Schools was organized in 1904 and in Kentucky in 1907 as a professional education organization designed to represent the causes and issues of African Americans, teachers, and students. The goal was to promote higher ideals, better teaching methods, and cooperation between teachers to adapt education to community needs. This was also a goal for Professor Blanton. A Kentucky Post article, July 26, 1911, announced that William Spenser Blanton, principal of the Southgate School of Newport, had been appointed as a delegate to the Negro National Education Association at Denver, Colorado, by Governor Wilson. The convention met August the 12th. A Kentucky Post article of March 3, 1914, upon the recommendation of Principal Blanton of the colored school, the Mothers Club of that school were granted permission to serve luncheons in the school. We all know that students perform better with a full stomach. In 1917, Professor Blanton registered with the World War II Draft Board and was still living at the 221 West 4th Street address at Newport, and he was also still the principal of the Southgate Street School. Newport, like any other city, had its share of racists who did not like African Americans obtaining an education. As evidenced by the above picture with the racial painting on the school, Professor Blanton and his students faced racism every day. He also dealt with leftover books and inferior school supplies, often rejected by other schools. In the Kentucky Post of November 15, 1917, the Committee of Negro Citizens of the Methodist Church in Newport met on Wednesday night and made plans to canvass the Negro District of Newport for war YMCA funds. Officers selected included William Rutledge, Secretary, W.S. Blanton, Treasurer, and Dr. Charles E. Horner. Blaine Laughlin gave an interesting address on why work. Professor Blanton was very involved with the community and worked to improve the lives of all his neighbors. In the Kentucky Post, April 24th of 1918, Professor Blanton, principal of the Negro schools in Newport, was in receipt of a letter from J.R. Downing, state manager of the Second Red Cross War Fund campaign, notifying him of his appointment as chairman of the Negro Workers of Campbell County. On November 14th of 1918, Professor Blanton of the colored population reported $161 collected. January 19th of 1920, while principal at the Southgate Street School, Professor Blanton helped raise money for equipment for a playground. It is not known exactly what kind of equipment he was able to get. On March the 20th, a community center with playground would be established for Negroes in Newport out of the General Playground Fund, and Professor Blanton was the chairman of that committee. The Negroes displayed a great interest in the movement and contributed about $170 toward the general fund in that recent drive. In a Cincinnati article of June 8th of 1921, the Newport Board of Education decided to discontinue the Southgate High School because of the small number of pupils enrolled. Pupils were to be sent to the Covington High School at a rate of tuition of $50 a year for each pupil. Covington did not need Professor Blanton or his wife, so they returned to Franklin County, where they taught in the schools there. William's beloved wife of almost 30 years died December 29th, 1934 in Frankfort and was buried in the Frankfort Cemetery. William married his second wife, Etta Ray Banks, also a teacher, on July 17, 1935 in Louisville. She was born in Chicago, the daughter of John H. Banks and Jenny Brooks. At the time of the World War II registration, Professor Blanton was still living in Frankfort and was a teacher at the House of Reform in Greendale, Kentucky. It's possible that Etta was teaching there also. In 1897, the Kentucky legislature had established a House of Reform on a 200-acre tract at Greendale in Fayette County. Both boys and girls were sent to this institution in ages ranging from 8 to 21. Children worked on the farm and in the rock quarry. Whippings, the hole and leg chains with 35-pound weights were used to control inmates. After finishing his teaching year in 1942, William decided the reform school was not for him. He left to obtain his master's degree at the University of Cincinnati, but he died before finishing it on April the 6th of 1945. He died in Frankfurt at the W.A. Scott Memorial Hospital and was buried in Frankfurt. Professor Blanton was buried April the 10th, 1945 in the Frankfurt Cemetery. For over 12 years, William S. Blanton and his wife Emma made a huge difference in the lives of the African American children in Newport. They showed them by example that they too could achieve many great things in their lives. We salute these great teachers. If you have a story or someone you would like to be presented here, please call the Historical Society at 859-635-6407.